I just spent $1,700 on one item. I mean, you might be a bit confused because this channel is all about personal finance and saving money, and then I'm going and blowing a lot of money on one item. Well, I want to explain my reasonings why and why I think we need to change the mindset on how we think about spending money on possessions. Hi everyone, I am Ethan Rushock, and on today's video I'll be talking to you about a really big purchase I've recently made that has cost me nearly $2,000, $1,700 as the title will say. So normally I'm very careful with how I spend my money, etc. So for me to make this decision to buy an item of that value, I've definitely put some thought into it. So as you will see in a second when I show you what it is, you'll understand that I think we need to have more thought process on what items do we use the most in our life. They're the ones that we should spend the money on. So a good example of this comes from actually the Barefoot Investor, where he talks about pillows. We use pillows every single night of our lives, yet we stinge out on them. Bit of a side note here, I really need some new pillows. I've been stinging out on them for a while, so please don't take my advice on this part. Okay, let's get back to the video. So there's things that we use so much in our lives and we don't pay the attention to them, and then we spend big on items that we might use as a once-off. For instance, clothing that we might buy for one event, spend lots of money on a suit or a nice dress and then wear them once. And then we have things like I'm talking about pillows that we use every night and we stinge out on. All right, so let's get to what the purchase is. It's an iPhone 12. I'd show you the actual phone, but it's right there because it's recording this video. I've been really excited to get it and start recording with it and seeing the difference that it will make. So the box itself is actually quite small because they've removed the actual physical charger from it. So now you only get the charger cord itself, not the actual charging brick that you need to plug into the power. All right, so as you can see now, the reason for me getting this and spending so much money on it is because it is one of my most used purchases. My phone is probably my most used possession. I use it for work, I use it for business, I use it for this YouTube channel, and then I obviously use it to keep in touch with friends and family. So I'm sure anyone that uses Apple products will get those screen time reports, and they're probably quite reflective of how much time we actually spend on our phones. These can be quite often 3, 4, 5 hours a day. Now, I do have a preference for Apple products. You can see I've got the watch, the MacBook. I have always had Apple products except for one little stint with a Android Google Pixel. Didn't like it, didn't like the software, so I've stuck with Apple products ever since then, and I don't envision changing. I know you pay a bit of a premium for them, but I like them. They all sync together well, and that's why I've gone for that particular phone choice rather than swapping to a Samsung, etc. Then another major reason I upgraded my phone is my old one was starting to break. So I'd had iPhone 10, I'd had that for 3 years. The charger point was so dodgy that I couldn't really charge it unless I used a magnetic charger. The battery had started to go on it, so it went flat very quick. So that was very frustrating through a day when you're needing to put it on charge by mid-afternoon. So it was definitely time for an upgrade. It also did have a couple cracks in the screen, my fault, but yeah, another reason why I upgraded. And the other thing for me in my position is obviously I'm using my phone a lot for my business, so therefore it's a tax deduction for me. So this will obviously offset some of that cost by being able to claim this in my tax return or in my BAS, etc. Now obviously everyone might not have this option, but it is something to consider, and obviously speak to an accountant or do your own research on this as to whether that's applicable for your situation. So my aim when I buy a phone is to keep it for at least 3 years. So if I break down the cost of this over a 3-year period, it only is about $1.55 a day. So if you think of all the things that you spend $1.55, $2 a day on, there's a lot that are probably wasted. For instance, food. If you go out and buy a lunch and it costs you $10, that's already like 5 or 6 days worth of this phone. So I think the cost is really low when you break it down over that 3-year period that I'm aiming to have it for. All right, so the basics to it is you really need to consider purchases that are large, but make sure that you're spending on the things that you use the most, and don't stinge out on things that you're using the most if you feel like there's something better quality that you could have, because you are going to get your money's worth out of it. The same goes in return, is that don't go spend big on things you're barely going to use. If you're only going to use it once, do you really need to spend up and get the really high quality one, or is there a cheaper alternative out there? And please don't spend big just to show off to friends and family. There's no good going and buying a $4,000 watch just so you think you look cool. Let's really consider those big purchases. Are they improving your life? Is it something you use lots, and are you buying it for yourself, not for others? Alright, thanks for watching. I want to hear from you. What's one thing that you spend big on but you know you get your money's worth out of? Leave a comment down below, and as always, I will talk to you on the next video.